Am I audible or is there any difficulty listening me?
Yes, you are audible, Arnab.
Okay, thanks, Raghav. So we have right now Mudra, Miraja, Partha, and Sukarna, 4 participants. So let us wait for a few more minutes and then we will start our session today. So far what have been we have covered so far in our 3 classes. If anybody has any question, any doubt, any concern, so you can bring this up here before we start our session today and we can discuss on those. So while others are joining, so you can take time and we can bring this topic up here and we can obviously try to clarify your doubt or concern whatever you have. Okay? And feel free to stop me anywhere, wherever you are having any problem. Say, for example, you are not hearing my voice clearly, or some of the topics, if I am going first, some of the topics that you could not understand or could not follow me correctly, you stop me, please, okay? And ask the question, okay? So then I also, I mean, I can understand, or whoever is delivering can understand if you are having any problem in understanding or it's like a one-way communication. It's always somebody is speaking and nobody is understanding or you're not getting the point. So it's always better to ask questions. Any doubt you have, anybody from the classes we have already covered? You can just unmute your mic and ask me the question, or you can type also, whatever way is feasible for you. Okay. If nobody is taking that, then what I'll do actually, I'll pick up one by one and ask you some questions. Okay. How does that sound? Okay. Is Partho there?
Yes, Partha is here.
Okay, Partho. How are you,
Yeah,
Partho?
yeah, I'm doing fine. I have actually one question not related to this. Actually, everywhere, wherever Java is required, they also prefer Oracle, NG, or that kind of thing. So actually, I'm also interested in that.
Okay.
So, are you going to cover in the other training those things?
So by saying Oracle, you mean the Oracle database?
Oracle database, yes, they prefer.
Okay. So let me tell you one thing.
Uh-huh.
Dotnet is like a complete language.
Right.
And Dotnet framework, one of the component is ADO.NET that we
Mm-hmm.
already talked about. But
Mm-hmm.
actually we have not gone into details, so we have not shown what are the different classes available, what are the different objects.
Mm-hmm.
But the advanced design that we are planning
Mm-hmm.
will have like 30-hour classes
Right.
Total 14 or 15 classes, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That will have a detailed cover of ADO.NET part.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
in that ADO.NET part, we will teach you how you can connect from a .NET application to a Oracle background, a DB2 background, a SQL Server background, or any other thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that will give you a good idea of how you connect to with your system of records or source or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm.
One thing, just let me tell you in a very short.
Mm-hmm.
If you know the SQL, the structured query language,
Right.
if you know that thing, so it doesn't matter. The SQL
Right.
is ANSI SQL. It is followed by, obviously they have some other specifications as well, but 90% of the total SQL command available in each of these databases, I'd say will be following ANSI SQL. So Oracle is one of them. SQL Server is one of them. So if you are conversant with one of these databases, you don't have any problem migrating to others.
Yes, sir.
That was a very good question asked by you, Doctor.
One thing, actually, I'm in the imagery industry, and Intergraph Corporation. Intergraph has a lot of problems, they have merger and a lot of things. So definitely, I would like to move to other imagery in other imagery sector in other industries. So the main thing, my focus would be mainly also I'm interested in this QA. But the thing is, by the end of this month, I'll be going to India and for my visa stamping. My wife is still there. Actually, my father is out there. So the thing is, I would like to pay the security deposit that is mentioned in the email. But may I get the recorded version of the class?
I think you need to talk with, for that matter, the best person to answer you either Prabhat or Prasad. So obviously you talk to them actually. I do not know the terms and conditions of them actually. But I can only tell you one thing. You can still attend the classes from India or wherever you are going. So that's the beauty of this work. You don't have to be physically present anywhere.
Right. So actually the timing is good in the weekend, but right now it is morning in India. So yeah, I can attend. It's not a problem. So I'll talk to Prashad and
even they can arrange something or taking your consideration or something like that. I think it's possible. It's a manageable thing. And if you are taking classes during weekends, we can tweak our timing a little bit so that make sure that it fits everybody's need, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you.
Where are you located, Arnav?
Me and Raghav both are located here at Phoenix, Arizona. But we worked in different parts of USA. We both migrated 2 years back or something from.
Right. Actually the industry situation is not good. So and the salary in the right now in Intergraph as a direct employer, but the salary H1B visa and salary is not good. So definitely I'm thinking to move to other places.
Obviously, you should look for opportunities. Right? That's how evolution happened.
And this is the first time actually you guys are providing free training, and I'm really grateful to have excellent training. And I didn't have any experience because I have theoretical experience, but I didn't have much experience in the programming, and really I'm blessed. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. If it is benefiting you. And all credit goes to Basic Solutions.
Definitely. Exactly. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Doctor.
Thanks.
Okay. So who is next? Neeraja would like to speak something? Neeraja, are you there? Okay, she might not be just in front of the PC or something like that. So, what about Mudra? Sukarna, are you there? Suparna, tell us.
I have two questions. One is, what is the out keyword?
What is the out keyword? Okay. So that way we specified, right? There are two different ways we can pass a value type variable as a reference type variable. So what happens for a reference type variable? You are aware of the term called pointer, right?
Yes.
So what pointer does? You send the memory location of a particular variable. You do not send the variable value.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do, all the operations is being done on the memory location, okay, itself, and value gets changed. So wherever you access from that variable from your memory location, you will get the same value. Why you need an out parameter? Now there are two different ways you can send a variable's address to another method. There are two different parameters are there, right? One is a ret keyword and is the out keyword. So then when you pass the variable address using ret keyword, the prerequisite is you have to declare the variable and you have to initialize it. Then you pass it. Then whatever in the operation, whatever value is being set, you can, after the method completes its operation and control back to the calling method, you will have the value ready there. What happens in case of out parameter, right? You have to declare the variable, but you don't have to initialize the variable. That initialization of the variable and the assignment of the variable value, whatever it is done, from the caller method to the callee method. I mean, the method that you are calling, you will be passing the variable to there, and within that, everything will be calculated and a value will be assigned. So initialization is not required. That's the only difference. Otherwise, ref and key they work with the same, and you work on the memory location and set a variable value. So from where you actually pass the out parameter, there you will get the value. The beauty of the out parameter is that there is no limitation. You can have one number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 number of out parameters.
Okay.
So if for a particular operation you need more than one value or more than one output from a method, there is only one return type. You can only return a particular value, say for example a string type value, or integer type value, or an array type value, or a collection type value from one method. But you need, like there is from a method there are 10 different outputs. How will you get them? You can return one. What about the 9 others? You have to send them back using out parameter. That's the beauty, right?
Okay.
What is your other question? You are clear
And
on
the
that?
other, yeah, definitely. And the other question is actually, I have missed that part that what is Dotnet assembly type? Just give me a brief description.
Dotnet assembly type. Oh, we are discussing about the private assembly, the public assembly, and
Yes.
different. Okay. So, I mean, how you classify assembly, right? So, now let me tell you, what is an assembly? What is your understanding of an assembly? First tell me that. Whatever is in your mind,
Assembly is
just
a
tell me.
collection of something.
Okay. So, yes, it's collection of something. So, collection of your source code, okay, which is like we call intermediate language code, like IL.
Yeah.
So, your IL will be there when you compile any of this language code, like we are talking about C# now. Any of this, like J#, C# or VB.NET, you compile it, it will be compiled to intermediate language code that is called IL, intermediate language, similar to what we have in Java called bytecode. Now, that code will be bound to and a type of file called DLL or an exe. Okay. So in that file, it will not only have the IL code, it will have the manifest. Like what are the different types you have? You have different classes, right? Those are types. So you have different classes in that manifest. So all the types will be there. If you have any static content like an images or an IO file, that will be there. Then you have like security boundaries, different things. So all these things will be stacked together in a DLL. So we call it dynamic link.
Like header file.
I didn't get your question. What is the header file?
So I just want to say that this assembly is similar to header files in C or C++.
Yes, similar to. I mean, yes, you are almost there actually. So, assembly could be a header file, it could be so many different other things. So what is a header file? Header file is nothing but a library of classes, right? Or a library of different functions, whatever you have in C. Here, the DLL we are talking about, that is also, that could be a class library, that could be a complete project. Okay? And assembly can have extension of .dll or .exe, that is a standalone application. You remember that day, Raghavan showed Windows FM, he compiled it. Okay? That will be some kind of .exe. That is also an assembly. But it has capability of running an application. So what does that mean? It has a program.cs class, within that there is a main method. So when you have some assembly with a gateway of entering, then you can run the program individually without depending other dependency. That is a standard application. That would be .exe. So all these are assembly. So assembly have many variations. But in your thought, you are also correct. Since that, like a class library, while it does not do anything, it has like compiled classes. So when you in runtime you use it.
So we call this assembly in our methods.
What we do actually, we have to reference. See, for example, you have a assembly called math.dll, okay? Where you have different classes and you have different methods over there. Now you want to use that assembly in other programming. What you will do? If you have just tried one or two example in Visual Studio.net, then you might know there is a when you create a project, then you have a folder called references, right?
Yes, yes.
So in the references, if you right click and add reference, you have like 4 different tabs. You can reference from your whatever already present in .NET install program, install assemblies. Then you have different projects, and you can refer to a DLL file also from somewhere located in your local machine. So that's how you can refer math.dll and assign it. Then from your program where you want to use it, you have to use a keyword called using math. That is your namespace. Okay? And any of the classes, if you want, say for example, you have a class called arithmetic operation. Then you have to instantialize that class arithmetic operation, obj arithmetic operation equal to new arithmetic operation. Then obj arithmetic operation dot something is your all the methods available in arithmetic operation class, and the particular object you can use them. That's how you use it. It's very simple.
Okay.
Okay?
But I'll try sometime.
Sure. You do. We always encourage you guys to try whatever is being taught, to try out yourself. There are so many material available in net. There are so many very good books are available. Go and try. If you have any confusion, come back to us. Revert back to us. We are happy to answer your question.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay. So I think that's all we have present today. So what do you think, Prabhat? Should we go ahead and start our session today, since we have lot many things to discuss today? Prabhat, are you there? And these are agenda today, like web technology, what is HTML, what is ASP.NET technology. Then we have one demo application that will be creating one demo application, writing some code and see it in action, how it works, how you write code and how website works, how you um, host the service, host the website in IIS or some web server. And then we'll move on to some more theories like what is the difference between web applications and e-commerce site or the websites that we call it. Then what are the difference between web forms and web pages? And we have some different kind of controls available in ASP.NET. We call HTML controls and web controls. What are the differences? Why we have these kind of controls available? Okay, how we should choose what is the best control to use, that kind of thing. We'll discuss something over there. And one very important thing we'll discuss, this is ASP.NET page lifecycle. What happens if somebody asks for a resource which is a .astx file or something to a IIS, and what are the different thing happens after that, so that you get the requested file and HTML or whatever it is being displayed to your browser. What happens in the background? So we'll cover that. It's called ASP.NET page lifecycle. Then we have some more controls like user control and a custom control, what are those? And then we'll conclude there. And if somebody has any question, we'll answer their questions. Okay. Okay. So web technology, how we are aware of this one? Every day we use website. Every day we need something, we just log on to Google or something. We just try to find any particular website, and for our shopping, for our email, we use web like it's a part of life. How it became a part of life, we even could not realize it, but it became. And it's so important in our life that we cannot say a single day without web. We have to do Facebook, we have to do Twitter, we have to access mails, we have to do shopping, online shopping, Best Buy, there are different offers. So everything, our life is completely changed. Web is a part of our life. So we cannot think anything without web. So it be it in terms of like you have to talk to your family members who are not there with you. Okay, so you can do the video chatting using. There are so many applications available like Skype or something like that. So you talk to them. If I say okay, I'll not give you internet connection for 5 days, they say, oh my God, how can I live? So that is the power of web you have nowadays. But it was not the situation. Web was only introduced in 1990s. So think the world that used to be earlier, before 20 years, how it used to be, and how it became so popular. So who invented the web? So there is a English scientist called Tim Berners-Lee. They worked on a project called WWW, World Wide Web Project, and they invented web. They invented different protocols that we use today called HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and at the same time, there was another organization, like we call it World Wide Web Consortium, W3C. They come up with a language which is like hypertext markup language, that's HTML, that can be used by different web browsers to display your content uniformly. Whatever browser you use, if you send a HTML file, it will be displayed similarly to all the web browsers. So they come up with a protocol. So whoever is designing a browser agrees you to follow the contract to display the content or the media, whatever is there in your HTML file, it has to be displayed uniformly. That's why protocol comes. So protocol is like a policy or a contract that everybody has to sign and follow that one. Okay. So here protocol is HTTP. How we use request HTTP is used for transferring, like a transfer protocol. So transferring your content. That's why HTTP is used. And it has certain rules. You can go up to Google and read it. We don't have sufficient time to cover it. As we will tell you, it's a request format and a response format. You request something to somebody, and how you should request, there is a format for it, and how it should respond, how the response you receive, there is a format for it. So whoever is agreeing to serve, that is a server, and whoever is agreeing to send the request and get the request back and display it, there is a browser or the client. Both has to conform to the same protocol called HTTP. Then you have XML. What is that XML? That is extensible markup language, or that is nothing but the data. So right now what do you mean by data? The data could be a different thing, like our sales information, address of a customer or something. So say for example you are registering with a website as an e-commerce website. Take example of Amazon.com. You're registering. You provide so many different information, like what is your name, what is your email ID, what is your address, and then you submit. So your information is being taken to the Amazon web server to register your case or your profile, and then they will send you a confirmation message back, okay, whether you are registered or not or something. So now the information that you provided on the website is your data, particular data. So that thing, how we can handle data, or if I send you data, say for example, I send you data in a particular file format that you don't understand, then data is of no use. So XML was introduced to transform data in a in a markup language so that everybody can understand. The description of the data is already there in the XML. If you just read the XML, you can understand it. So is your application. When application gets XML, they can understand it. Okay. So that's how XML was introduced to make it uniform. So nowadays we have different platforms, different applications. Like we have mainframe system, we have Java systems developed in distributed system developed in Java technology. We have backend systems like databases that I was talking to Rafato. Oracle, we have DB2, we have SQL Server. But what is the common language? Is there a common language? If you have to use a particular software, you have to get their client, or they have something, some components that you have to install to other companies to make it compatible with your application. But if you use XML, everybody understands nowadays because everybody conforms to the XML. You do not need any third-party component. You are sending a message to a backend system, say DB2, you are sending XML, and you are also expecting to receive XML back. You can get it. Similarly, Oracle system can talk to another backend system called SQL Server using or talking to each other with XML. They can do that. They can send a request to one of the server with XML, get the XML. Not only that, it is so flexible nowadays. You can make web requests from XML from a database. From a database through procedure, you can make HTTP request to any site. You can get the data back in XML, and you can play with it. You can save it the data in a table, or you can do some operation. You can send it back to something else. Everything is possible. All the different legacy systems, new generation systems, everything talks in terms of XML. That's the universal language nowadays for applications. Okay. Then we have JavaScript. What is JavaScript? So that runs on your browser. When you want to dynamically change something, some of the variable, or some of the text being displayed, something you want to do, some operation, some validation you want to check, you use JavaScript that runs on your browser. So for example, you are entering email address. There is a format for email address, like it has to be like some characters, then @ comes, then it has to be a company name, and then .com or something, a domain name comes. So that is the validation we may check from JavaScript, right? So the moment you use something like that, it says, okay, it does not confirm. It is not a valid email address. So then it does not go back to the server to check it. The program runs on your browser itself to check whether the particular thing is valid or not. Similarly, you can have different things. Say for example, you have two different buttons, radio buttons. Uh, if you click one of them, it will display some other content. If you click on the other one, it will display some other content. So those things are managed, like one particular section will be visible to you, one particular section will be hidden to you. Those are all controlled by JavaScript that runs on your browser. So your browser has complete code, your JavaScript decides which one to display to you, depending on your choice. Okay. Then you have CSS. What is CSS? It's a cascading style that we call. So you might have seen there are so many designs available, different things like glossy buttons, glossy drop downs, and everything. It makes it gives you an appeal towards a particular website that you visit. It feels very good. So those are actually done using CSS, the styling. Okay. So those are different things we can cover today. Let me go to the next slide. Let me give you an example how web works. Okay. So when we say that's a web technology, website, whatever it is, you type google.com and you are served with a page with a big text box in the middle and Google written over there on the top. Right from it comes. Okay. So you make a request to the page called google.com, that is the home page of the Google, which is hosted in the web server. You see the web server here? It is hosted in the web server somewhere. And when you hit google.com, okay, so google.com has a DNS name associated with it. Your browser will contact your local internet provider to get the DNS name, which particular IP it has to send the request to. Then they send a request to the web server saying, okay, I need the homepage of Google. Give me the homepage. That is HTTP request. It goes to your web server. Your web server, their web server, where Google is hosted, they will see, okay, this is the request. Okay, let me send the homepage back. They will send the homepage back. That is nothing but some HTML and JavaScript. If you go to google.com homepage and right click, and there is an option called view source, you would see what are the different HTML and the JavaScript sent back to you. That is what is sent back using a HTTP response. Then your browser reads that HTML and the JavaScript and displays the content back to you. Then you type something, okay, what are the nearest restaurants here, I give the address or something. It again goes back to web server, tries to pull out all the information available with your request, okay, and again it sends back the HTML. That HTML contains different information like, okay, address of different website, different address, different other thing. Again, your browser renders them and displays back to you. So that's how web server works actually. So if you see the internet, the cloud kind of thing, it's there. And it's connected to everything. It's connected to your home, connected to corporate offices, connected to bank or something like that. And then the actual website which is being hosted in the web server that is also connected to the internet. There is a firewall obviously. So you don't want everybody to come and hack you. So there is a firewall. You validate what is the valid request and what is the heat or the attack. Your firewall decides that this is the attack, don't let it go. Okay. This is the valid request, let it go. Then your web server may need some data to be pulled from its database server. Like the way I said, you need, okay, give me all the Mexican restaurants at this address on Jeep 85027 or something like that. It pulls out data. Where it pulls out data from? Your Google pulls out data from their huge data source called database. Now that data can be sourced in different ways. It can be cached, it can be indexed, it can be a SQL server, it can be a series of servers. I am not going into that detail. I'm just telling you, they have a database system or data store system where from they will get the data. They will create the HTML back again and send it back to you. Okay, so that's how web works. Any question or any doubt, anything so far?
Hi, Arnav. Whether all styling are done by CSS?
Styling on the web pages you were saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there are different technology available. So CSS is one of them. You can use Flash technology. Nowadays, HTML5 has come, right? So HTML5 can do all these things. But just check. I think all the browser does not support HTML5 yet. Only Chrome does.
Okay.
One or two does. So I mean, yeah. So depending on that one, there are so many different styling available. CSS is one of them, and most commonly used. I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. So yeah, then let us go back to whatever we have. So we are saying right that how web works. This is it. Step one, parsing the URL. The first thing the browser has to do is look at the URL and of the domain on the new document to find out to get hold of the new document. Most of the URLs have a basic form, a protocol. What is the protocol that you already discussed? HTTP. And you are sometimes I must have seen HTTPS when you log into some bank website, right? So HTTPS www.bankofamerica.com. Why you use HTTPS? That is a secure layer. Okay. So all the communication is being done from your browser to the web server. It's a secure channel. It's established while the communication is sent so that nobody else gets a chance to look at your request or the information you send. You send your request, user ID, you send your password. Sometimes while you're registering, you may find send your social security number, right? So all these are sensitive information and any hacker can make use of it if they get it. So it has to be sent through a secure channel called HTTPS. That is another protocol. It is something. So any browser on any web server is when they are facilitating you to host a website in their web server, so they are conforming to the laws, the regulations, and the protocols defined by HTTPS. They have to do it. Okay, so that's how we call it protocol. Then we have a server name. That server could be a sorry. I think I came back to the next one. Okay. That server could be your domain. We talked about that www.bankofamerica.com. So that is your server. So that is the fully qualified domain name we say www.americanexpress.com. But actually, it has a IP address attached to it. Your DNS knows that. Domain name server. There is a DNS means domain name server. Your domain name server will have this address of that IP. So when you type www.americanexpress.com, actually it will try to find the IP address from the DNS and send the request to that IP. So information is exchanged using IP. Okay. So while it's sending the information, it will have the source IP where it is the request generated, that is HTTP, your local browser, and the destination IP. Destination IP means where it should go. And the web server where your Bank of America website is hosted, it will go there. Then so that while it gets a request, you process the request and sends you back the web page, it knows what it has to send. Because it's a disconnected protocol. HTTPS is a disconnected protocol. So everything, all the information about the source and destination has to be there in each and every request and response. So you might see two different fields called source and the destination. Okay. So this is how it looks. Now the HTTP, that is the version like 1.0 or something, or 1.1, 1.2, or HTTP 2.0 is also available. Then you have code, and what code is the status code, what you get back. That is the response we are talking about here. HTTP, you see the HTTP 1.0, then 200, and okay. That means that was HTTP request, that was not HTTPS, that is a plain text. You can read the request. The version is 1.0, 200 is the status code, that means successful. So whatever you requested, it was found and it was delivered. Then you get a 200 status code. There are so many status codes, like 404 you may get it. That means whatever you have requested is not found, it's 400. If you get 500, sometimes you get 500 error, that is the internal server error. That means a server could not serve you the request. There is some problem with the server. It could not serve you the request. So you get internal server error or 500. You might have seen while trying to access some website, you might have seen you get internal server error. A page could not be displayed. Okay, so the status code is 500. But when status code is 200, you get the response back. Sometimes you type some URL, but you have not seen it is redirected to some other URL. What is that? That is called redirection. And you see the status code in those HTTP response 302. That is a response. That is a redirect status code. Okay. So if you go through any of the websites like Wikipedia or Google, I mean, you find a lot of the different status codes are available for HTTP. You would find them. These are very easy to get. Okay. So going next. Now we have a demo. So we'll show you how you write code in ASP.NET, what is ASP.NET technology, and what are the different controls available, and different things. But we have to make sure that you have downloaded Visual Studio Express, Visual Studio 2008 Express Edition with Service Pack 1, and this is the URL. So what I can do actually, I can let me share with you the URL. Okay, this is a free version, and if you have any laptop or any desktop or anything, any kind of system, you can download them. It does not need anything. Even if you don't have .NET framework, it will install your .NET framework along with the Visual Studio. And it's a free version, you don't have to pay anything. Okay, let me share with all of you. So please download that one and then practice whatever we'll be teaching today. Okay, I sent it privately to Arun. Let me send it to everybody. Okay, so this is the URL. Okay, download your Visual Studio 2008 and then practice over there. Okay, so I have already one downloaded. Let me show you how it looks. Go to my all programs. Visual Studio 2008 Express Edition. Okay, so if you open your Visual Studio Web Developer version 2008 Express, it would have a homepage like this. It looks similar to whatever Raghav showed you that day. C# Developer 2008 Express Edition. It looks similar. From there, you can go to File, can select New Project, and there are two different languages. Only two languages are available here. Since it's a free version, so they have provided only two languages, one is Visual Basic and another is Visual C#. So we'll be doing our demo in Visual C#. And there also we have two different templates available for Windows as well as for web. When you select web from project types, you have seen different project templates available here. HTML.NET Web Application will come later. What is a web application and what is a website? We'll discuss that one. Web application means for this thing what we are discussing here, is the ASP.NET Web application that will be developed using the technology ASP.NET, and that will be hosted somewhere from the web server. And that web application is an e-commerce application. Why we call it web application? That means it has capability of interacting with the user. User will fill some data or something, will interact with the website, and web application, your application which is being hosted in a web server, and then it has so many different backends. It will serve your request. whatever you need from the web application and what are the different features it provides, it will serve your purpose. That's why it's a web application. So though it's an application, it's available over web or available over internet. That's why it's actually a genuine application. Now we have web application, we have web service application. So that will cover in tomorrow's class. What is web service application? That is web application as a service. It doesn't have any interface, web service, but it has services. If you request something using that, there is a protocol for web services called SOAP that Raghav will be covering tomorrow in his class. That is Simple Object Access Protocol. Using that, if you send a request to a web service, it will send you a response back. And using that one, and that everything is explained using XML that we already just talked about. That using that XML, whatever you get back, you can have your own application. That could be a standalone desktop application. It could be your mobile web application or mobile app application or something like that. You can use that web services. So that is ASP.NET Web Services. The web application is written in ASP.NET, being hosted as a web service. It does not have interface, but it can serve your request. If you send a SOAP message, it will give you SOAP response. That's how it works. Then you have Ajax Server Controls. What is Ajax technology? That is ActiveX, Java, and what is that? XML, ActiveX Java and XML, I think. Yes, ActiveX Java and XML. It's called Ajax. So, I mean, it's again a technology which is not new. It's there for like 7-8 years in industry and for different application development. It's fixed for partial posting. You don't post the entire page. It will come there actually. What are different posting, what are different things. So there will come there. Just understand that one. When you hit submit button or something in your any of the registration process or whatever you're interacting with any of the application, it completely posts your page back to the server. So whatever content is there is posted back. So that is a complete post back we call. But if you are using Ajax technology, that is a partial posting back. It does not post all the content back to the server. But the thing that you need, a small information, a small portion of the thing that you need, it will send that information, that request to the server, and you get the response back. And your browser has some code that will work on this page and display the information. That is only possible using Ajax. Then you have WCF service. That is another kind of technology. We call it Windows Communication Foundation. That is built to keep in mind the SOA, service architecture. So that also Raghavendra will cover a little bit tomorrow. And that's all we have. So let us take that web and ASP.NET Web application, and then you can browse where you want to save your project. Let me browse it. Or let me do it in desktop itself. Okay, I'll do it in desktop. JSP dot net class 4. That's the name of the project. Let me click. Okay. while we're working on this demo, we'll write some code on HTML, and then we'll write some C# code that is a ASP.NET code. Then we may write some JavaScript also to show you how JavaScript works. Then we'll do some with a little bit of styling using CSS. Just, I mean, we'll try to cover it. But if you have to learn it in full fledged, like how HTML works and what are the different tags available, the beta reference is w3schools.com. So you go to www.w3schools.org. I think .org is the site. Go there. There's excellent available material there. You can even, there is an editor. You don't have to do anything. There's an editor available to try and practice your code. And it does not take more than two days to learn HTML. It's very easy. And if some of you already know HTML, so well and good. Nothing better than that. And CSS also you can learn from there. Okay. So when I create a ASP.NET Web Application project on the Solution Explorer, you see there's a project already created. Okay. And there are different properties available here and references. So that, Sukarna, if you remember that I was discussing with you how you can use an assembly that you already created. So this is the place, reference. You can add reference if you right click on this one and it gives you an option. Okay. Yeah, so add reference. If you right click, you see the add reference. And if you click on add reference, excuse me, actually my computer is a bit slow. It's a very old computer. It takes time to do something. So that is the area, that is the place. You should choose, click on the browse tab, then look in wherever you have the component available and select the DLL, whatever you have, and then click OK. So we are not using any. So we will just go by the default one, whatever is there, and I'll show you what are the different references added already by default. Okay. Let me pull it little bit further here so you can see. And I don't need this one at this moment. Okay. So you see what are the different references already added. The system.configuration, system.core, system.data, system.data.set extension, so on and so forth. Still, system.xml.linq. So those are nothing but different assemblies already provided in .NET Framework Library as part of the Framework Library or the base class library BCL. So they are there. When you create the project, the template already adds all the references by default to your project. And you also see they have created a file called default.aspx, and under default.aspx there are two references. One is default.aspx.cs and default.aspx.designer.cs. If you go to default.aspx.cs, you would see different assemblies are referred here using keyword, using system dot collection dot generic, using system dot link you, like that. Okay, let me explain all the different files that get created by default. So if I go to properties and you see assembly.info.cs, so same thing, same way when Raghavendra Studio, when you are creating one console application, and there also you saw one assembly info.cs class being created. The same thing here. So here, it will have all the information about the assembly or the namespace. Since we have given it a name of the project as ASP.NET Class 4, by default it takes that name. This is assembly title. Okay. Then assembly copyright, there is one more attribute here where you can specify your company name. Let's say copyright, nothing, because I don't have any company name or anything. That's why it's coming as nothing. So you can write this key or your company name or whatever, or if you're doing it for your own, so just write your name. And the same thing, this is assembly GUID, and the functioning of the assembly that already explained Raghavendra one day. Excuse me. First one is the major version, and next is the minor version, the build and the revision. So these are all very complete, so I'm not covering them again. Then what else we have? Go to Solution Explorer. We have seen references and app data. There is a folder created called app data. So if you are creating any backend system like databases or anything, you can add your database or a connection to the database using that app data, or you can have a local database available also in that data. Since we are not doing anything with the database at this moment, I am not touching that point. At this moment, app folder doesn't contain anything. That's why you don't see any plus button beside it. Okay. So by default, one file is created called default.html. That is the web form. So if you go to the design view, there are different views that are available. Okay, when you select one file, there are different views like properties, show all files, and the trace. There's a code file, view code, and there's a designer available. You click on the design. Okay, it's going to take time. Okay. So in design time, you will see how it looks. So at this moment, that form does not contain anything. That's a blank form, a blank web form. Okay. And there are three different views that are available. If you see at the bottom, there is a design, it's split and source. If you click on the, now at this moment it is selected, design is selected, so you only see the design mode. If you click on the source, it will give you the source. Whatever you see now is the HTML. Okay. So your HTML code, this is your HTML code. This is the structure only given when you have to write the code. Since there is nothing being contained within the HTML, only the structure is there. That's why you don't see anything. It's a blank form. Okay. Now the most important thing, when you create a project and by default it creates a default.asp page for you, uh, it creates three different files. One is default.asp, default.asp.cs, and default.designer.cs. What are those different things? Because ASP.NET, they have created the the view or the HTML from the code. That's why they have given you one designer field where you can design your HTML page how it should look, and then you can provide different value and do different operations, and you have different handlers and event handlers, different other thing in your code behind what is default of CS pages. Okay, so that is the segregation of your code and the designer. So you can design at one place and you can code in other place. Unlike ASP. So ASP is the technology that Microsoft introduced first as their web platform, web development platform. What is ASP? ASP is nothing but the active server pages. So in that ASP, it is to be single file. I'm not sure if anybody who have worked on this HTML who are attending class today, but ASP I have worked on that contains HTML and your server-side scripting language that is generally written in VBScript and in a single file. So you write this portion of ASP. Whenever you have to write ASP, you see that thing here, angular base and the percentage. That is the ASP tag. You use that tag as a starting of your ASP script and use that end percentage and the right angle base as your end place where you have completed your ASP script. Then you can have your HTML again, and within the HTML also you can have your ASP. So in the single file, you have your design, your code logic, your code behind, everything is there. So that's not a better organization or the better structure of the code. That's why when they design .NET, they have come up with this thing. They have separated the code and the design and the logic behind it. So now everything is defined in a different file system. These are different files. And most important thing is that they were explaining. If you have a designer, web designer available, they can give you and create the HTML for you. And your core C# developer who knows much more about the UI web code behind things like handling of different events or how they should build the pages or behind a different dynamic value they should populate to different controls available in HTML. They can do it. The C# developer can do it. So you can split also that way. And so different files are available. But if earlier in ASP that was not possible because there's a single file. So only developer has to do everything. But it is not possible. Okay. Okay. What is that CS file? I'll show you what that default dot ASP.designer.cs file. What is that one? But just now take a look at this moment. So it's also contained in the same namespace. Okay. And if you see the class name, it's underscore default. The same partial class. Raghav already explained you the concept of partial class. If you declare some variable here, you can access in the same partial class under the same namespace if it is there. Okay. So for example, let us go to default.html.cs, that particular page, and you see the class name. It's also underscore default, and it contains the same namespace. In different designer.css, so whenever you declare any server-side control, those are called web controls or HTML controls, they are declared here in designer.cs. So you make your code behind file, which is more cleaner. You may have like 20 different controls available on the web form. So those will be declared and initialized in designer.cs, and you will make your code behind clean and only for the logic, how you want to show different things, different control, and how we want to set values for those. Okay. So you can concentrate on here. See, already a form is created, that's called form 1. That is nothing but an object of type system.web.ui.html controls.html form, and the object name is form 1. So if you go to default.spx, you would see there is already a form created. You see that one? That's the HTML form. So all the controls, all the web controls and the HTML controls has to be placed within that form variable. What is the form is there? So form int start tag is there and form int tag. Okay. And that is already declared. Now let me explain a little bit about this page, ASPX page. Okay. So as you already told you, that is a web form page, and it's a designer page. Now see the directive here at the top of the page, the first line. What is there? You see the ASP tag that is already explained. What is the ASP tag? That's rectangle base and the percentage tag and something within that, and then percentage and the rectangle base page directive. So you see at the rate page and the different attributes you set. So language for the code behind is C sharp. Let's say you say the language of the code of the page is C sharp. Then I'm not explaining auto event wrap at this moment. I'll explain it later so that you can understand. The code behind file. Code behind file means when you post this page, if any module has to be loaded, if anything has to perform on that one, which code will be called or which thing will be called, that is default.html. That is the file name that has to be called. Okay, and it inherits from what? This is a namespace dot class name. Our namespace is ASP.NET class 4, and what is our class name? That is the type is called underscore default. This is our type. So whenever this page is posted back to the server, it will look for creating an object of type ASP.NET class 4 dot default. That is the type. To create an object, and then what are the different things happens? It will happen over there. So this is our web form. Now if we, I'll see what are the different controls available. That page. So controls are grouped in different groups. Some are standard control, data, then validation, navigation, login, web parts, Ajax extension, then HTML and general. So what are the standard? Let me expand this one. So standards are like whatever is seen in Windows as well, in Windows form application. Excuse me. So those are text box, button, link, or HTML link. That was not there in Windows, I think. Then you have image button, then you have hyperlink, then you have drop down, which is combo in Windows. Then you have list box, it's same. Then you have checkbox, you have checkbox list, you have video button, so on and so forth. You have table, that is HTML table. Then you have calendar control, um, and so many different things you have. And then what you have in data. So data is where you will represent something, show some data. It could be a grid view where you want to show a table or something, and that is dynamically generated. You show a grid view. Then you can show a data list. Okay. So a data list you can represent it in horizontal and vertical. Different links are available as a data list or different items that you don't want to show them as table, but you want to show them grouped under some vertical columns and horizontal rows. So you can use data list. Then you have a repeater control. That is again using repeater you can create a data list. You can create a table, HTML table, or you can create so many different other things. Like you can create a bullet pointed list. You can create all the pages. So when you visit google.com, right, you have seen the paging available. Like there are different number of pages. What are the different results that containing different pages are available. And by default, first page is selected. If you go click next, you go to the next page. So those are paging. The paging can also be done using repeater. Then you have SQL data source and so many other things. Uh, so if you go through that on each and every one, you can understand what is the purpose of that one. And in our example demo today, we'll be using some of them. So then you can see in detail we'll explain them. But you can practice. You can take one of them and you can practice and read more to understand more about the controls. Then you have validation control. We use different validation control to validate different input from the user. These are like equal field validator. When you have a text box which is a mandatory text box, you want to check that a user must provide some value to it. So how we will validate that one? There is a controller for this one to validate that. It's called equal field validator. Then there is a range validator. So for example, you have text box that expects some value between 50 to 100, something like that. And how we can validate that user is providing a valid value using the range validator. So you can provide the upper range, you can provide the lower range, and where it has to, which particular control it has to validate, it will validate the range validator. Similarly, you have regular expression. So regular expression, there you would have no bound using the regex, whatever we call it, regex, and what the industry understands, your regular expression will later also understand the same. You just provide the regex command. So email validation can be done using regex. SSL validation can be done using regex. Phone number validation can be done. So there is a different regex string available for each and every type of validation you want to do. You may not have to be master of that regex expression string. There are available. There are different sites available in Google where you can go and search it. And if you want to learn the regex string, how to build the regex string, you can also do that. There is a logic behind it, and it's very scientific, and you can understand. It's very easy also to understand. It's not that difficult. But if you are not that proficient, you can take a use of Google and create your own regex expression to validate a particular control or particular input. So that you can do using the regular expression validator. Then you will compare validator. If you have to compare values of two different input button or input text boxes, how you can do that? You can use the compare validator to validate different things. Say you must have seen some places where you are changing the password. They provide you two different boxes, three boxes actually. Type your old password, type your new password one time, and type your new password again. So now they use that compare validator, particular validation control, to compare your two new password that you provided, so that to make sure that you are not doing any typing mistake or any by default you have not selected any uppercase or anything. So to make sure that you are providing them to different places the same thing, you use the compare validator. Similarly, if you provide your account number, you must have seen that they will ask you to provide your account number in two different boxes to make sure that you are providing the same thing. So that's the reason that common mistake we might do sometimes. The regular expression is a compare validator helps you to compare the same value in different fields, or if you have to do comparison on different other things, you can do that. It gives you lots of opportunities to do different other things as well. Okay. Then we'll go to navigation, where you have a sitemap. Sitemap means you must have visited some sites where you say home, then an arrow to some other thing, then arrow to some other thing. So where are the places you visited? You are first going to home page, then from there you go into some other place, it gives you the sitemap. But or at this moment, the particular document you are watching, or that is being displayed to your browser, how far it is from the home, and what are the different steps you have to take to come to that particular document or particular web page, that can give you the sitemap path that you see there. Then you have menu control. So sometimes you have seen the headers it is there where you have all the menus. You have menus and you have sub menus. You click on the menu and then pop-up comes. You select the sub menus, or you can have the menu on the horizontal on the left hand side menu bar, or you can have the menu on the right hand side menu bar. So those are cases in the menu control here, which is already provided by ASP.NET. Then you have tree view control. So tree view control, you see a tree which is collapsed in form, and you will see a plus button on the left hand side of it. You click on it, then you expand it, and then you see like two or different child controls under there, and you keep on clicking them, and it expands the tree. So there are different ways actually you can use the tree view control. Dotnet provides you the facility to do that one. So there are so many other controls. There are controls for login, so many different things actually. I cannot cover it full actually. It can take a complete 2 hours session to complete all the different controls. So let's do some example here. I'll show you what are the different things we are doing here and how we can use of that one. One important thing I would like to mention is here. Let me tell you. So you see, there is a section called HTML. Okay, and HTML also you see that input button, then input submit, input text, table, or different things are there. And same thing you see under standard as well. So why you have in these two places the same thing, button and text box and all these things. So whatever you see under standard, those are called web controls. And web controls are defined in system.ui.web, system.ui.web.controls.web controls. And under that, for each of them are the different class. Like button is a different class, link button is a different class. Those are web controls. And when you see the HTML, they are system.web.ui.control.html controls. Those are also different. So those are very light objects, and they don't have all the rich attributes available whatever you have in web controls. So HTML controls is just a record of the HTML. Okay. So I'll explain you. It might be difficult for you to understand that one, but we'll show you here in the example that you can understand. Okay. Uh, who does not have any experience in HTML? Let me give you a little bit of before we proceed, little bit of how HTML works. So if you see in this document, right, there is a tag starts with HTML, then there is a namespace, XML namespace, it's something. Okay. So this is how you should start your HTML document. And all the HTML documents should end with the end HTML tag. What is the tag? Any keyword or any word written within an angle brace and the closing angle brace is your tag. So HTML tag starts with HTML closing, HTML angle brace, and then you have XML namespace. So your XML namespace is the attribute or property of that HTML tag, and then you are closing it here. Similarly, every HTML tag has to have a end tag. So you have a HTML end tag here. Everything content within that HTML, your browser will display them, will try to interpret them and display them in basic section on HTML head, and you have HTML body. So whatever is displayed on the HTML head, generally, if you see that one, if you see any website, okay, there is a title, there is a title tag here. Let me type it here. My first ASP.NET page. Okay. Let me run the program and show you how it comes. You see one balloon is popping up here in the system tray. and it gives me HTTP localhost colon 1459. So that is why I run the program, right? But I didn't host it. I didn't host my web application. So what it is doing, that the IDE itself, it creates a web page and hosts it within my local host, and whatever port is available by default in the dynamic, like 1459 is the port available at this moment. So it's assigning that port to my website. Okay, and it is not hosted in any web server. It is hosted within the development network. It's called MSDN. Okay, so it's called ASP.NET Development Server. So which is a component within that IDE. When IDE runs within that runtime, there is a component called ASP.NET Development Server, where it will search for available dynamic ports in your local system and assign one of the ports and host your application over there. And it's temporary. Whenever you just click it, the particular from your system tray, if you just click on that balloon and stop it, it will stop hosting it. Okay. Now let me see how it is coming here. Not sure why it's taking so much time. Not sure why it is first one. Okay. Okay. If you see that one, my first ASP.NET page being rendered here. It took lots of time, but rendered here. And the title you see here, my first ASP.NET page, that is the title. So whatever you provide in the title tag within the HTML head portion, it comes here. Okay. So that's why I wanted to show. So it does not have anything. That's why you see a blank browser here, blank page. Only title is coming. Okay. Let's do some programming here, more programming here. So whatever you want to display on the body, that was blank actually. If you write anything here, it should come here in the body. And your head can contain metadata, different other links. Say for example, you have a JavaScript library, so you will include that JavaScript library within the head portion. If you have a CSS file, that you will include within the head portion. That we will do actually. We'll do and see um, how we can do that. Uh, Let me start continuing here. What I will do here, I'll try to make a login page with a username and a password text box and a button called submit or login. Then I will validate that information. I will capture that information which is being passed from the input box to my code behind file and validate the information. If information is correct, I will let it go to another page and show the user a welcome message, and we can do something from there, like uh, providing different information and submitting that page again. Okay. So this is our objective was to create the login page. So let us do that. Let us do some programming HTML code here. So we'll create a table structure here. So how we create a table structure? Within the table tag. So we'll create a table starter and table end tag. So end tag starts with the angle brace and a forward slash and the table name and like the way your start tag ended, your end tag also will end with the end angle brace. So every tag which is start tag does not have any forward slash after your first angle brace. Your end tag will have a forward slash. So that's where you can understand that it is the end tag. Okay. So this is our table. And within that we have to create rows. So we'll create TR. These are your table rows. And then we'll create some columns within that, or the cells. We'll call it TD. Okay. And so let me create the structure first, where I have three TDs required. One TD here, another here, and another here. Okay. I'll apply style to it. Style equal to, what is that style? I have width. I would like to specify width for this TD. Okay. And that is nothing but 30%. Okay. That is my style of this TD. Okay. Let me copy this particular thing and paste it everywhere. Okay. So this is a facility you have to copy and paste. You write one thing perfectly and then just copy and paste it and just change the value here. 30%, 30%. Let's make it 40%. Okay. Then it's 100% of the total available space here. And what I will do, I'll create one label here. So just go to the tool section. The same thing what you have done in Windows application, you do the same thing. You just select one, then you drag it to your page. This will create a web control called ASP label. So anything starts with ASP colon is your web control, and your HTML control will not start with ASP. They have the standard HTML tags like input, um, and then type equal to submit or type equal to text or something like that. So they generally start with input or something. Those are plain HTML form controls. And this is ASP form controls, or we call it web controls. Okay. Now in that web control, let me pull one more thing, that is text box, and drop it here, and then it's in the properties. So you see, in the label control, you have different attributes. So the ID, then run article to server, and the text. So ID, you assign some ID to it. That has to be unique in that form. And the naming, and the convention, how we do that, LBL, and since it will be my username, I'll write username. So I am using camel notation here. You see, it starts with small LBL, then user and name. So I'm using camel notation. And the text, I'm not giving any text. So let's make it blank, or no, I'm giving it a text. So it's like username. Okay, and then a colon. What is run at equal to server? So this comes by default in any web control. When you mention run at equal to server, that means a code has to run in the server while you are posting it back. It will create an object of that type, label, and it will get all the different values from it, create the object, and it will go through different transformations and if you have anything in the code, and then it will unload that particular thing in your response object, and then it will send the HTML back to your browser. That's how it works. But we'll discuss that thing in ASP.NET page life cycle. So let us only focus on coding it. Text box, we'll write it like username, not equal to server, no value for it. And I'll just copy and paste the same information. This is one row, this is your another row, and your third row will have a TD here, and a TD as well, but TD span would be 3, so we call it call span. So it will span across all the different columns. That's why we will mention call span equal to 3. Because you see, in earlier rows, we have 3 columns. TD, TD, TD are the columns. Okay? So how it makes when you go to the split view will show you the HTML as well as how it displays in the runtime or design time. Okay, let's click it and show you. And change them. LBL password. Okay, and it has to be password. Okay, this is your text for txt password. Okay. And there is an attribute for it. While we will try to secure whatever user is typing, so we cannot see that. So there's attribute called text mode. Text mode will set the value. What are the different values? Okay, multi-line, password, and the single line. We'll change it to password. Okay. Now in the third column, third row, would like to drag a button here, button control. Okay, we have a button here. Let's drag it to the third row and put it here. Let's give it a name called BTN login. Okay, name of the button. Okay. Let's name it as login. Okay, and then go to the design view, how it looks. Okay. Now you see you have two different text boxes, two different button coding, and you see how it looks. You see the table structure here. A tier to represents a row. In that your first tier, you have three different TDs. One TD we have mentioned username, and the second TD we have provided the text box, and third TD we kept it blank. Till now it's blank. For the second row, it's the same thing. First TD we have taken a label from the tools and dragged it and dropped it over there. Just a password, and then you have the text box following TD, and the next TD it's blank now. And on the third row, you see we mentioned call span equal to 3. I have one TD, and it span across all the columns. So that's the flexibility HTML gives you. If you learn HTML, it's a very easy language. Just go to w3schools.org, and the variety of things, variety of different tags which are available, and just study them. It's very easy to learn, and then you can just practice something so that you can write your, you can create your web form like that. Okay. With that one, I will go back to the designer.cs. I would like to show you what are the different variables already created and declared here by default. I didn't do anything. I just did a drag and drop. But there are different variables already being declared. Okay. What are those? Go down. Okay. So we already saw that form variable was already there. Okay. Then you see LBR username. I use that variable, so it's declared. Okay. TXT username. The text box that I created just beside the level, the variable is declared here. It's a text box type of object called TXT username. Then you see similar for LBL password and the TXT password and a button control. You see? So all the different variables are declared here. Again, go back to the design. Okay? And we'd like to write some code and add a handler to it. So click on the button, then you have a property like the we have seen in Windows Forms that Raghavendra was showing you. You have different properties here. Okay? You can change the font color, you can change the text. So these are different properties or attributes which are available for this kind of class. So button class has all these different properties that you can set. Whatever value you want to set for those, you can set them. And it has some events also. So it responds to different events. Okay, what are the different events? So there are click event, command event, data binding event, init, load, pre-render, unload. Different events are there. Okay. So every HTML, every web control supports almost all of them, like the miscellaneous events, what you see, dispost event, init event, load event, pre-render, and unload. These are the different stages of HTML and load page cycle. So we can declare the event handler for those, and if that event happens, the control will follow into that event handler, and some code is executed. At this moment, we'll create the event handler for button click. So it's very simple. Just double click on this one, and it will create event handler and assign to the click event. A method is created which takes two arguments. Similar like what we have seen in Windows, a type object and the name of the variable is sender, and the type event args and the name of the variable is e, and the name of the method is gtn login underscore click. Though it's a method, but that is an event handler. So event handler, we can discuss more about the delegates. It takes a type of delegate type that can only be assigned to that event. So events and delegates we will be covering. We will discuss on more what are the different things, what are the different arguments it can take, and how you can assign a method to a delegate. So it's nothing but it's a method being assigned to that event handler. So everything when that click button of this login happens, control will come here and the code written within that block or within that method will be executed. Okay. Okay. So let us write some code here. What we are trying to do. I'll cache the variable which is there, which user is providing user ID and password, and will try to hold them here. So I'll declare the variable str username. So see, I am following camel notation all through. I am using camel notation for declaring a variable. I am using camel notation to hold the values of the variable equal to txt. That object is already created. Txt username dot text. So in that object we have a property called text. Okay. I will take the value. So if you just hover your mouse on text, okay, you'll see a text written here, get or save the text control of the system.web.ui.webcontrol.textbox. So that is the class name, and an object txt username is an object of the class system.web.ui.webcontrol.textbox. And there you have a property called text, which is a type string. It can set a property to that object, it can set a value to that property, or it can get the value to the property. So now, whichever is value being passed from client, then it is posted back to the server, and server, when it comes to the server, it creates an object of that type, and it takes the value and assign that value to the property text. Okay? So now we are just retrieving using that feature. So it's a great feature that Dotnet already provided. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to read the raw response that you get. You are getting that in terms of an object. What are different objects are needed? Dotnet decides it. Dotnet engine decides it. It gives you all the objects. You just retrieve those values or assign them back. So we are getting that object text here. Since text returns a string type of object, that's why we are declared a variable called string here. Same thing we do for the password. String str password equal to txt password dot text. Okay. Okay. Now I will do a check here to check what are the if it meets my criteria. Now you can have a database to validate the username and password. Okay. You can have a database. You can make a ADO.NET like call or database call to check, and will pass the username and password to the database and see whether that username and password is residing in your user database or not. If it is there, you can make it a success, or you can tell them, okay, this is not available, and you can register new. But right now we are not calling any database, right? So I'll just check here. I'll just check with my name only. Okay. If str username dot equals, there is a method in all the string called equals. You can pass what are the different things you want to test. Is or none. Okay, that is my first condition. And you remember the control statement we already studied. We use the if statement here. I am using the same thing here. And another condition, str password dot equals, I'll just say password. these two conditions are satisfied, okay, I'll let the user do something. What is that? Just show them like, okay, I'll show them something here. Okay, it's not written. Else, if else is there, say something if it is not satisfied. But I need to do one more thing here. That is going back to the default page and dragging one more label here. So I'll do two box. Let me go back to the source. And I create one more tier here. More tier. I'll do the same thing. Create one TD with call span equal to 3. Okay. Complete that TD, and within that TD I will copy a label. So you don't have to drag all the time. If you are just, you can just copy and paste it and make some changes here to make it good work. So I'll type it as LBL message, and text is nothing. So I'll just remove the text property itself. If I save it, I should get that one from my default.spx code behind. And I'm already assuming it should be declared in default.spx to designer.cs class. So what I'll do here is set LBL message dot text. Set the text. Welcome valid user. Okay. And I will say here your credentials are wrong. Just try again. Try again. Okay. So now we can do different other things like we can set the full color property of the label so that when it is error message, I can set the color red. Okay, that is a full color. There is a property available for full color. What full color text? Type system dot drawing dot color. Okay, type system dot drawing dot color dot red. Yeah. So I have to do that. I'll make it red when there is a error, and when there is a successful thing, I'll make it blue. Okay. Let's run this program and see, or let me do the build. Otherwise, it's trying to open in Chrome, and I have some problem I think in Chrome, so that was not working. One more thing I'd like to do. Yeah, still trying to resolve. Do this thing. I'll add one more waveform. Add new item. Okay. Now see that thing? It appeared here with the username and password and the login button. So let me do that thing. Type a name called ABCD and I'll do is also ABCD. See that password thing? It is not displayed because we saved that text mode as password. Now let me click on the button login. It does. Why they want to keep the password? Okay. So it's coming up. Please try again because that is not the correct one, right? That's the reason it's coming like that. So let's try the correct one or no. And password is password. Let's say options. Basically it is ready. So I click on web form. By default web form 1 is selected. We can rename it. Okay. We can have a name like homepage. Homepage.spx. Let me add this one. Okay. So homepage web form is created and the same way it has two files under it. One is homepage.spx.cs and you will have homepage.spx.designer.cs. So what I'll do here, so when it is validated, my user is validated, I'll try to redirect it to the home page. And what I have to do for this one, okay, I'll try to do a response or redirect. So redirect the control to another page. It is home page.aspx. Since these are not relevant to me, I can just comment them out. And in the home page, if I have to display some message or the welcome user or something, I don't have any variable set. So I can do that in two ways. One, I can pass that in two ways. Either using a query string. How we use query string? We just do like that, a question mark followed by um, user equal to, and then we set the variable here. How we'll pass the value, or we can set the value in a session variable, HTTP session variable, and we can retrieve it from that page. So same passing the variable in a user string can display that to the user and everybody can see it. So that's not the good way of doing it. So you should always do setting it in a session variable. That's what we'll do here. Session, and then we'll set a variable called user and set the variable here for whatever we are getting from str name, str username. So that is the variable I want to set here for the session. Now let me go back to homepage.spx.cs. Homepage.spx.cs. Okay, here. So page load, before any click even happens or anything happens, it comes to the page load. So when all the objects for this page are created, all the web controls are declared initialized, and then you have something called page init, then you have page load. So here actually you can do so lots of operations. So it's like a main method for your Windows or console application. You can do so many things here. We'll retrieve the variable. So first we'll do string um, str user string str user equal to convert dot to string. So convert dot to string. The convert is the method which is available in system dot convert. So it is available in system. Convert is a class, and there you have the method called toString, which can convert any object type to these are the different methods available. We are using toString. Okay, and it can take 36 different. It's overloaded with 36 different types, but we will take the object one. So what we'll do the session and pass and from session is also a collection where we have set one user object over there, and we'll just try to retrieve that one. Okay, then we'll display a message. What you can do? You can do like that. Response dot write. Or we can have a variable. We can have a label over there. So response dot write. Like the way we did like console dot write line, right? So in here if you write response dot write, it will write on your HTML. Stop it. And use my okay. Let me reload it since I built the page again. Listen, yes. Okay, Sukarna has a question actually. I didn't see that one. Cannot understand code behind. Okay, I'll explain that one again. My computer is killing me actually today. I need to work on it and make it faster. So while it loads, okay, let me explain code behind. So in the code behind, as you have seen, there is a page directed and then we mention code behind class. So code behind class is for that web form where code is written. That's the file name. You provide the code behind file name complete. And then you provide inherit. So that page inherits from that class. So which was default in our past class record default.spx. The default was the class name. And it was the class was residing under the namespace ASP.NET ASP.NET 4 class or something, whatever we have given the namespace name. Same way, when you created the home page web form, and if you go and see the code behind file, it would be homepage.aspx.cs, that is the code behind, and the namespace would be the same namespace for what was there for the default, and here the class name would be homepage. That's the partial class. So when you request a page like default or the homepage that as we have seen, your server will load that ASP on ASP engine and load the particular assembly, and from there it will create an object of default class while you are requesting default. Okay, and all the controls will be set from the response. Whatever you are sending the request, and from the request it will try to create all the different objects required for this class, and then it will initialize them. Then those objects will be available to you in your init or in your page load. Then you can access them. Okay. So you see it here. My Mozilla one is working fine. I had some problem with the Chrome. Actually, it's not browser dependent. It can work anywhere in IE, Mozilla, or Chrome, anywhere. But I had some problem in with my Chrome. That's why it was not showing properly. But if you see it here, so it redirected since I provided the valid username and password. Redirected to the homepage or access, and where it's showing me the welcome message. Okay. Okay, Supana, is that clear to you, or you have more questions? So you can discuss that one. Okay, thanks. Because of that problem, I could not show you or define other things. I had a plan to give it few of different other controls as well within the restricted time, and we were already passing the 15 minutes or so. I would like to finish whatever we have in my theory, and if time permits, tomorrow I can cover some of the things. Okay, since it's already night, we should not drag it more. But tomorrow it would be like 10 to 12, and there I can spend like half an hour or more. And how we can host it in IES, I can show you these different parts. So now I'll try to cover the theory part, whatever we have here. Website and web application. You might have come across this question. What is a website and what is a web application? And what is the difference actually? So website in general form, that is also hosted by a web browser, and you access the content same way. So using a browser, you type the URL, and it finds that from the DNS server, the hosted IP, goes the request there, it processes the request, sends you back the HTML and the JavaScript and whatever you have. It sends everything back to you. So it works the same way. But then why there are two different names? So website generally as an information system where you have only static information available. You do not interact with the website. You have different links available there. You can go from one place of the site to another place, watch different things, and you get lot many information. But actually, you do not interact. You do not do anything with the site. And web application, on the contrast, say for example, your banking site, your bankofamerica.com. You log in there. So the moment you hit the URL, it serves you a page. Okay, Bank of America, something, something. On the right hand side, you have login, username, password, everything, and sign up or sign in. It provides username and password. It goes back, it interacts with its backend system, validates your user, provide you a login, welcome page where you have like your account summary, you have different other tabs available. That is a web application. So it interacts with web, it interacts with the user. You provide information, you get information. Now you may click on, okay, what are the details that I have spent over like last 2 months. You'll click on them, a recent activity. It will show you what are the different places you have spent money using your Bank of America website, Bank of America card. Your credit card application could be, say for example, you have a City card or your American Express card or something like that. So you can log into that website. Those are web applications. So web application is like an iceberg. So like iceberg floating on the ocean. You see only 1/11 part of it. 1/10 of the part is submerged in the water. You don't see that. You only see the HTML and the thing what is being served to you, and your browser renders them and display to you. But in the back end, what happens when the request goes to web server? Then you have series of different servers. You would have a load balancer. It will send a request to any of the web server available there. Then your web server will send the request to the app server. Your app server will have different components. It will contact different backend system to get the data. It will process different things. Then it will collect the information at the web server level. Then you will send it back. All the things happen so fast and within the fraction of second. But there are so many different steps that happen. That's why it's a proper application, like a Windows application. You have so many different things. You have your logic, you have your business logic, different ways to perform things. How you display that thing, your display engine. That could be JSP or J2E or something like that. Or if it is in .NET, it's ASP.NET that works for you. So all these things, this kind of applications which are interactive and it interacts with the user, and whatever you want to see, you dynamically it represents data only for you. So whatever information you see on that page or being displayed to you, it could be different from the other person. Since when I log into the Bank of America and I provide information, it gives me some other thing. Depending on whatever I spend, okay, if I did any money transfer, if I did anything, so it's completely personalized. That's a web application. Sometimes we call web application as e-commerce site as well. So web application and the e-commerce site are the synonym, but there's a difference between a website and a web application. Okay, so is that clear? Okay, so let's go to the next one. And whatever we have web page and the web form. The same way we define website and web application, we have web page and web form. So website consists of many web pages. Those are static HTML pages, or it could be Flash or media or something being displayed. Those are web pages. Since you don't interact with the system, those are static content which is already there. Um, those are web pages. And web forms, again, it can have a web application can have a different set of web forms. Your one web form could be your login page. One web form could be your registration page. One web form could be where you see your recent transactions. One web form could be where you made the transfer, money transfer from one to another. So there are different sets of web forms. Those web forms make a complete site. So if you have like for my website, there are different functionalities that user can perform, and depending on that, what are different flows, you decide what are the different number of web forms you need. Then you design them and you make them operational. That's the basic difference between a web page and a web form. Okay. HTML control and the web control. So we have already defined. So let me show you what is the HTML control then. We have already seen web controls. Those are web controls are the ASP.NET controls. They are proper object of system.web.ui.web controls, not a particular type like button or label or text box that we have already seen. What happens in case of a HTML? Let me go back and see. Okay. So here from toolbox, I will not drag anything from web control from the standard section. Let me drag a control from the HTML section and see what happens. Let me take a input text box. Okay, and drag it here. What it gives? Input equal to text, type equal to text. If I go and see here my Mozilla, whatever I've seen, let me see what I saw when the page is rendered. Okay, let me type the folder SPS. What it gives me? It gives me that one. So let me, as I was telling you, just go and see the view page source. It will give you the complete HTML page. So you see that this is the source. So when you request that default.aspx, it sends a request to the web server, which is now being locally hosted in my machine only in port 1459, yes, 1459. And when you get the response, is the HTTP response, here it will contain the complete HTML. And how HTML is done, you see the same thing, whatever we have typed. You have the title, you have the body, then input, and 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 you see that input 9 equal to here. If I highlight it, can you see that we provided ASP text box and the ID was text username, but it converted that control because that was an object of level. So that was system.ui.webcontrol.level. That was object of that kind. When HTML rendered that page, our HTML engine rendered that page, it converted that control to an HTML equivalent value. That is nothing but the input tag which type equal to text. And it gives the same name and ID. So in some browsers, it is identified as a name, and for some browsers, it is identified as ID. Like IE identified it as ID. And like Mozilla and others, they identify it as a name. That's the reason it covers both name and ID. Actually, it's same thing. And within that, if you have something, some value here, it will post it here within that PD. So this is how HTML is rendered. Now, if I go back here in my ID, if I go back here, you'll see the same thing. So when I drag a HTML control, it actually gives a raw HTML control, whatever is there. Input ID equal to text1 and type equal to text. That's what it gives. Okay. Now, if I have to make it HTML control, what I have to do? I have to add a property called runit. Runit equal to server. The moment I do it, right, and click on the button and hit save button, it will declare the variable in homepage.aspx.designer.cs a new variable. Now it is the type of object which is a HTML control input type object, and it will be declared here. Let us go and see. Okay. Now do you see that text1 is a HTML input text type of control, but it does not have so many different features. If we go to aspx.cs, we can see what are the different attributes available to it. Now text1 is available here. That means what are the different attributes are available. So do you see anything called forecolor? No, I don't see that. Okay. So it does not have all the rich set of properties which are available for web control. It's just a wrapper on top of the HTML. That's why you don't see all these things. So if you have to style it, how you have to do it? Text1 dot style, okay, equal to what style type takes? It takes an object of CSS style collection. So CSS style collection new CSS style collection. Okay, it takes string actually. So we'll do one thing. Yeah, Raghavendra, yes, yes, Raghavendra. So what you can do actually, we can just, we may not concentrate on this part, just the difference what I was just demonstrating you. So that's the difference. HTML control is like small record on the HTML controls whatever available, and you don't have the rich set of properties which is available with the web control, and that's not a properly object oriented. But your web control are properly object oriented, so it's recommended you should always use web controls since it's completely taken care of by your .NET framework, their generation, their initialization, and their disposability. Everything is being taken care of very well by the .NET runtime. So it's recommended you should always use web control, and you don't have to think about the performance. You might think, okay, HTML control is a theme control. It might be performance, better performance oriented, but actually not. Their performance are same, but you have like much more richer control available in HTML controls. Okay. So what I was struggling here to add this one like text one. What I have to do here, just show you that one how you can add this. If you have to do it like this, it's not that very easy, not very straightforward also. My system is giving me. Okay, let's continue on what I was saying. So these are the difference of HTML control and web control. Then let's go to ASP.NET page lifecycle. So when your ASP.NET page runs, it goes through a life cycle. It performs a series of processing steps that includes initialization, your instantiating your controls that I was saying, what are the different controls you instantiated. It reads that from your request and creates all those controls and initialize them. Then maintain their view state. So whatever value is assigned to them, it creates them, maintains a view state. I can show you the view state actually, it's not permitting the time. If I go to the source file, you would say there is a view state here. So it's a hidden variable. So all the information for all the controls are maintained in a view state and it's posted back. If you see there is a hidden control, input and type equal to hidden. When you have an input control with type equal to hidden, that is a hidden control. So when you send that one, um, and you see the ID equal to underscore view set. For all the ASP.NET control, in a particular form, you have only one view set. So all the controls value are encrypted and passed here as a value. Those will be posted back to your web server and your ASP.NET control will parse this particular value and provide different value and assign different web controls value from this one. And when it will render the page, it will again create a view state and send it back to the client. So every time your page is requested back and forth, your view state goes. When you request, your view state information goes to the web server. When you get the response back, your view state information comes back. So that's the thing. Okay. So what are the different stages you have in a page development life cycle? Those are tabulated here in this particular slide. Okay, so those are different stages like page request, start, initialization, load, post back event, and handling. So when you have a page request, so page request said, and this particular cycle happens when a page is requested by a user and ASP.NET determines whether the page needs to be parsed and compiled or whether a cached version of the page can be sent. So then it's decided. Then it starts. That is a start stage. So page properties are like request and response. These are the first properties of a page are created and determines whether the page is a postback, new request, or each postback property set. So we can see them all actually, but the time will not permit today. If time permits tomorrow, we can see that one. And then we have instantiation. As we were saying, during the initialization controls on the page are available, and each control property is set. And if you have a master page, what is a master page? And we have not covered that part. We can just forget it for the time being. Uh, uh, so all the different controls has a render method. So all the different render methods of your different controls in the HTML page will be called, and the output will be streamed to your response property, and then unload method will be called, and the response and requested will be unloaded, and your HTML response will be sent back to the client. That's how it works. What is the user control and the customer? What is user control? User control is you have seen that the header part in any of the websites that you visit, and header part remains constant. So you visit page after page, but the header part remains constant. So when you have something constant, like coming for different web pages or different web fonts, you can keep all the different controls in your the common thing in one user control, and you just call the user control from different pages. So create it once and use it many times. That's the user control. So user control is again a type of control, but it can hold different controls that you decide what are the different controls you want to set for your user control, and you access them from your pages. What is a custom control? Custom controls are already different web controls which are available in ASP.NET, but you can extend them since they are also different classes. And as your object-oriented programming supports, you can always extend them to your need. Or you can create a new control from system.web.ui.control class, and create new control, and you can create different properties under them. And then what's the requisite? How you can create custom control? Only thing, the render method that you have to implement. So when you implement render method of any control, or you are extending any control, then you have your custom control. Then you build your custom control and include that in your pages, and you can use them. So you can, I mean, for this class, maybe these are too many things, so we cannot cover them actually today. But while we'll be designing that 14 days or the 15 days class, we'll have proper time for user control, and we'll demonstrate, we'll show you how we create user control, how we register them in different pages, and how we use that user control. Similarly, we create custom control. I'll show it to you how we can build custom control and use it on your pages and why we need custom controls. But for this class, you can just have this thing in your mind. What is the basic difference of user control and custom control and what are those? So with that, I'm done with the class today. I'm really sorry for extended it like 45 minutes or so. And we started the class actually 30 minutes late. And if you have any question, let me know. What is a div tag? Okay, so that is in HTML. So a div is a within div whatever you are write, you can set the property of div whether you want to display it or you don't want to display it. You can create a style. So it's a piece of XML, HTML within the HTML, and within that it can separate actually. You can have different div sections. There are two different directions of HTML designing. One is using div, another is using HTML table as I was mentioning. Or you can have a hybrid designing as well, where you can use div as well as table. So the hybrid is the most common thing. We use div and we use tables as well. But in some of the sites or government sites, it's mandatory to use only div. Since you can increase the font or you can increase or you can decrease the font or everything in runtime using div. So div gives you that flexibility. Okay. And for more details, you can just visit w3schools.org. That gives you very good understanding of HTML. So that is not a ASP.NET control. Div is a plain HTML control, and that can be rendered anywhere in any browser. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. So try those things which we have covered today, and then tomorrow, first Raghavendra will cover web services and some other things. And if we have some time, we will say more demonstration of the ASP.NET and try to use some more controls um, and see. Okay. And obviously, as promised, in the main class where we have like better designed way of the curriculum, we have more time for each and every topic. We can explain more there, and we can have more demonstration of practical classes. But try these things out. Download your Visual Studio Express Edition and try these things out. It's very simple, and you can start on your own. Okay. With that, I finish my class here. Bye, everybody. Have a nice, great night, and see you tomorrow. Bye.
কম্পিউটারটাকে এমন স্লো করে দিয়ে কিচ্ছু করতে পারছি না, কিচ্ছু ধরছে না। আমার ক্লাসে বলতে আপনারা বলতে আমরা এমন হয়ে গেল, আমরা পুরো পুরো পিছনে নাম থেকে